The reason as to why you're not signing clients for your marketing agency is simple. And I'm going to go over a few points that I've sort of wrote down here in front of me on my notepad, because over the past 12 to 15 months of documenting my journey of building my agency, I've had a lot of people inquire and message me, I guess, about client acquisition and customer acquisition and how do you get more clients, and usually surface level questions of how do you get more clients. Well, there's a lot of depth that you can explore to this question, because what's your offer, what's your client, what's your niche, what's your ICP, what are you actually doing to get those clients, how long have you been delivering services for this type of person, etc., etc. So you can jump into it, and really on the surface level of how do you get more clients, there's a load of different things that you can actually discuss to help you with that. So obviously, I don't know your personal circumstances, so I can't really help you on that level, but I hope that the things that I'm going to cover in this video are going to be beyond the usual bullshit that you probably see on the internet about the agency space, especially for beginners, because a lot of the times it's super surface level of just run paid ads or just DM more people or pick up the phone and dial. And yes, it's volume, it's bringing those conversations to you through paid ads, etc., starting them and selling to those people, which is great, and in theory, that's what you're supposed to do, but it doesn't help because it's the same old stuff that everybody else repeats on the internet. So I kind of want to go into a little bit more depth about it. For context, we're 2 minutes into this video, and for context, I just wanted to say my name's Conrad, and I've documented building my own marketing agency on this YouTube channel over the past 12 to 14 to 15 months, I think, at this point. And I've documented the highs, the lows, the signing of clients, the losing of clients, and everything kind of in between whilst you start on this journey of using this sort of model to gain financial freedom, right? That's where my goal's at. I ended up actually leaving my full-time job after 3 months of starting my agency, and there's a whole backlog of videos that you can watch if you want, if you vibe with what I say. But the first sort of reason as to why you're probably not signing clients, especially if you're a beginner, is the fact that you lack confidence. And that can either be lacking of confidence because of your ability to actually deliver, and that just comes from not being able to deliver the service that you're actually trying to sell to these clients, which means it's a super simple fix, right? You need to get over that barrier of understanding the service more, because if you understand the service more and the service delivery, whether it's the paid ads on Meta, on Google, whether you're selling copywriting, whatever it is, you have to understand it in more depth in order for you to actually gain more confidence to pass it on to somebody. Because the last thing you need is jumping on Zoom calls and demo calls and whatever you want to fucking tag it as, and trying to sell to a prospect a service that you're not confident in actually delivering to them. Because believe it or not, when you're trying to explain things and you start stuttering and you start umming and ahhing and somebody's on the other side of the screen listening to this, it's quite obvious to them that you don't understand what you're actually trying to sell them. And especially to a point where you finish up the call with £1,000 retainer or $1,000 retainer or whatever the currency it is, or whatever package you're trying to sell them, and you have no confidence in the fact that you can actually deliver the service to them because it's your first client, or maybe it's the first few clients that you've had. Maybe you've had bad experiences with other businesses, working with other businesses, and you lack confidence. So it's one of the things that you really need to focus on. And the way you really focus on it is consuming content, but also at the same time doing. And I know it's gotta suck and it's gonna be shit, and you'll have to go through it. You'll have to go through multiple calls, especially demo calls and, explanation videos and looms and all this sort of stuff where you stutter, where you redo it, where you don't sign clients, where people just leave and just give you objections that you can't handle yourself, and you don't do any objection handling in your actual Zoom call presentations or Figma boards or whatever you do for your demos, etc., right? You got to build confidence, and one aspect of it is the service delivery. The second aspect of it is your own self, and you need to become the person that's actually able to deliver this service. And sometimes that means that you got to pick up a book and read marketing books and read self-improvement books and become a better person physically, mentally, all round. You got to improve yourself, because that then instills confidence in you. Not only doing the reps and the Zoom calls and the constant conversations with other people about the thing that you're trying to sell to them, you'll eventually get better at it because you'll get better understanding at it. You'll sign clients and you'll deliver shit results for them, and you'll hopefully learn from that, take it into the next client. And with each client, it kind of gets a little bit easier in a way, and you become more resilient to what you're being faced with, and you become more confident in what you're actually delivering. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you can actually reflect on what you do and what you say and improve on that, right? But going back to the whole sort of self-improvement thing, is there's a second side to it, and confidence doesn't just come from understanding all the theory about marketing and understanding how to run paid ads and what creative to choose for this type of service or this type of brand and where to send the traffic to and all the nerdy shit, right? A lot of it comes from you as a person, and what are you like with people and speaking to people. Running a service-based business, whether it's in person, whether it's online, it's a service you're providing to other people, to other businesses, right? So you need to be very confident when it comes to speaking, and whether that is about the thing that you're actually selling, and also another thing is whether you're charismatic and a person that's actually likable, because that's a whole different thing, and I could go into this for quite some points. But if you're boring and people don't get on with you and they don't feel like they can like you, they will never ever buy from you, because it's very difficult to work with somebody that they don't like. That's the whole entire reason as to why people say people do business with people that they like. Because if you're going to go into business, into a partnership, and I'm going to give marketing as an example because that's what I do. If you were to work with a business as a marketer with another business, you want to like that person. You want to pick up the phone and have a chat about what they're doing right now and have a friendly vibe, and not just, yes, so we generated 10 leads last week and 2 of them have actually booked into an appointment and 1 of them was not qualified, so we're going to try and do better next week. It's not a good, pleasant experience for somebody that is actually working with you. And if they can see that from the very start, especially if they've been in business for quite some time, chances are they're not going to move ahead with you, and they'll have different conversations with loads of different people, because there's a shitload of people that do marketing and offer marketing services online. Chances are they're probably going to go with somebody else that is more confident, that has shown the reps, that has built that. And yes, people will take chances on others, and no shadow of a doubt, there's been clients of mine that have taken chances on me when I was early on in my career, I guess you could say. So it's going to happen, no shadow of a doubt, but it's about how long they stay with you. And the whole nother conversation is actually retaining clients and making them worth more to your business, which I'm sure I'll probably get into in other videos if people actually want that. Another reason as to why you're probably not signing clients for your agency is because of the way you have things laid out, and the leads are most likely shit and they're just time wasters. You're probably searching Google Maps, finding businesses on Google Maps, and you're calling them, you're emailing them, DMing them, whatever sort of cold outreach method you're using. Regardless of what it is, your leads are probably shit, and you have to kind of reflect on the conversations that you're having. And some of my students have actually faced this, where they are cold calling and cold DMing businesses, and they're getting responses, and by the looks of things from the outside perspective, it looks to be a positive response. But in many cases, people are just brushing you off, especially when it comes to cold calling. If you're cold calling, fair play to you, by the way, because it takes balls to call businesses and actually sell your services, especially as a complete entire beginner. There's not many people that actually opt to do it. Personally, myself, I've tried cold calling. I was absolutely shocking at it. So hats off to you for actually attempting cold calling and speaking with business owners over the phone, because I know how daunting it is, right? But in many cases, they just brush you off because they can tell you're not serious, and they're not good quality leads either. The chances of you picking up the phone and speaking to a business owner that you can solve problems for and actually them be a good business and get through to the decision maker of that business are slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. And with all this other shit coming out into Apple iPhones as an example, where restrictions are coming in, so you won't be making cold calls because it's going to be blocked off and all this other stuff. It's getting harder and harder, essentially, to actually speak to these business owners. And the serious ones, it is much more difficult to actually get into. Which is why I'm kind of saying, have a look at your leads and the quality of your leads in themselves. Where are you scraping the data? Are you scraping them from third-party portals where everybody else is scraping them from? Are you looking at Google? Are you maybe finding them on LinkedIn, or you've got some sneaky way of doing it? What are the conversations like on the actual phone itself or on the DMs themselves? Are they actually turning up to your demos? Are they, taking the discovery calls and so on and so forth? Chances are you're not signing clients because the quality of the leads are shit. They're not qualified enough on those calls if they are taking those calls prior to actually hopping on a demo call, as an example, which just ends up you spinning your wheel because you're generating these conversations. You're going over the fear of cold calling, as an example. You're booking people in, but you're not doing the right things and you're not covering the right conversations on your discovery calls in order to qualify those prospects well enough, because you're desperate to sign clients before they get on that demo call. Because a prospect should be pre-sold on the demo call when they turn up. They should be excited. They should be looking forward to it. And if they're not turning up, or they're just not ready there to buy for whatever reason, they're giving you objections, they're saying they've not got the money, they're saying they're not expecting to pay this much for this service, etc., etc. There's an element of things that you can sort of look down. And I know it's probably overwhelming hearing all of this information, but I'm trying to make it as crystal clear as possible, and hopefully this is of value to those that are potentially doing this right now. But I think just have a look at a timeline. I kind of like to spread things out and look at a timeline. Where did I get the lead from? What was the conversation like? Did I book them into a discovery call straight away after that cold call? Did I take the discovery call on that cold call? What did the conversation go like? Did they book into a demo call in a week's time? In 2 weeks' time? Was it the same day? Was it within 48 hours? All those sort of different things play a big role in terms of you actually ending up signing them at the very end. Have they got a website? How long have they been in business for? All these things. So I guess I'm going to leave it at that, because I think that's enough information for people to kind of wrap their heads around. A few things that I kind of had on my mind. These are obviously not the be-all, end-all of as to why you're not signing clients, because there can be many, many different reasons, depending on which channel you're trying to bring people to you and how you're going about, obviously, growing your agency. But those are some of the thoughts that I've had on this topic, and I hope for whoever they apply to that they were actually of value, and I'll see you in the next one.